Understanding CBD. Now, I'm not going to do a class about CBD versus THC versus hemp versus weed versus cannabinoids versus terpenes. We're not going to get nerdy here. I don't think it really matters or it's relevant or it's going to help you use CBD better. I want you to take that advice from last week when we were talking about sleep, about how CBD is the best, and like actually use it and like get those good results. So that's what the goal is here. So, I want to talk about what this is, what it can do for you, why I love it, how it's available, which is a big thing, and then the two big reasons that CBD doesn't work out for my patients. And so I actually am going to start out with that last piece. So there are two reasons why CBD doesn't work. And if you really, really, really listen to this part, the rest of this episode is going to be pretty simple. So there are two reasons. So one, they're using it incorrectly. It's not their fault, of course, but this is usually because of the selection of the wrong dose or the wrong dosage form for them. And then the second is that their expectations are off. They're using it for something that CBD isn't best to help out with, right? CBD is this miracle thing that's super trendy, so it's good for everything, of course. So, how come the CBD didn't help out with my neuropathy? I heard it was good for pain. Whether it's this idea that their expectations are off, they're using it for this reason that they really shouldn't be using it for, or they're expecting some sort of a miracle. I understand why. The rhetoric is pretty hardcore with this stuff. So, they'll go to the store, buy something that's labeled CBD and hope that a single drop will turn their life around. And all of the CBD stuff, it really reminds me of other trends in the health and wellness industries. And one of them was when Suzanne Summers was on Oprah talking about the hormone creams for menopause and how just one little drop and it, radicalized their lives. Their hot flashes went away instantly. And it's just a repeating process. And next week we're going to be covering Ozempic, which is really interesting because it's just, that same hit song remixed. So, my patients, they fail with this stuff, and they fail with it because they've gotten this information elsewhere and they've just tried to use it. Their expectations are off and it stinks. And so CBD is a great example of the flaws of the supplement industry. So product quality to the conflicting information to that powerful marketing rhetoric that manifests itself as a bunch of disappointed people with a lot less money in their pockets. And I'm really sick of seeing that. So that's, the hope for today is to make it so you're not wasting your money here, right? And so the only cure for this kind of a problem, this gap between what we're saying about how good something is and the actual benefit, is a supplement strategy. You've heard me say that a bunch before. So identifying the most appropriate supplements for you, what their role is in your overall wellness plan, and then having clear expectations for what the results should be. And then you want to engage with the industries because that's just one half of it. The other half is like you have to buy something. So you have to make sure that you're skeptical, like you just want to have that healthy dose of skepticism and just be like, I'm a little hesitant here about buying this thing because I know you're probably trying to sell me something that's not what you are saying it is, right? And so when those things are understood, the rest of it becomes very simple. So let's talk about why I love CBD. CBD can do wonders for you. There are solid anecdotes, there's formal surveys, and even reasonably sized clinical trial data that shows that CBD is so good that it's an anxiety buster or sleep support agent that people can use instead of benzodiazepines or Ambien or things like that, which is pretty awesome. CBD has been touted for muscle relaxation, for pain, skin conditions. High doses, of course, the whole story kind of started with patients with epilepsy. Your little puppy won't be erect during lightning storms, right? Your a-hole cat is going to have a better personality. I don't think any cat can have a better personality. I just think that's how it is. And I'm a cat guy, so it's, I'm not insulting cat people out there. So all of these things, all of these benefits that we're talking about, they're all real. And that's awesome. And I love CBD. As I said at the get-go, it's a powerful tool. And I've added it to my toolbox, and I encourage patients to do it all the time. Use CBD. last week when we talked about sleep, I said it's my go-to. Check out that episode if you haven't yet. I love CBD because of the pharmacology, how it works in the body and the results that it delivers. And I love CBD because of what's called the pharmacokinetics, which is how our body handles the drug. If it's, absorbed well, basically it's in, it's out, and then it's effective while it's there. It's a simple way to think about it. I love it. It's an herbal extract. It's more potent than the stuff that I have, and with fewer interactions and liabilities than any of the other herbs that are out there. I'd pick it any day for any of the benefits that it's touted over any other herb in my shelf full of herbs. So I think that specifically, if people come to me and say, I want to use CBD, I say I love it for sleep support, for muscle and joint support, both topically and internally, for their mental well-being, their mood support, anxiety, anxious feelings, skincare, eczema, dermatitis. Like, there are some great use cases for CBD when it's applied topically. And, like I said, your anxious dog or cat, I see the greatest benefits there. I don't love CBD for things like neuropathy or just nerve pain support. Pain management in general isn't really the best for CBD. CBD isn't the best for that, I guess I should say. For pain stuff in general, the cannabis benefits of pain management are mostly tied to the THC component, right? And the same could be said for appetite, because I know there's people out there that want to take CBD to increase their appetite, but it's really the THC component that's helping with that, and a lot of the pain stuff. That seems to be the consensus. So medical marijuana may be the better choice for those three things: neuropathy, general pain management, and appetite. But for other stuff, anxiety, sleep, all of the stuff that we've talked about, it's really great. So anyway, you're hyped and you're ready to rock, and you've got some clarity on, what I believe CBD can be the best for, but how do you do it? And a lot of people get excited and they want to jump right in, but I'm just going to tell you, just put the brakes on, bro. Like, to understand CBD, you have to first understand how CBD is available to you. And so that we have to take a step back, not just what bottles can I buy? Is it liquid or gummy or whatever? We have to look at more important things. So yes, sure. You have to know that CBD isn't available just as like a flower or a leaf that you can roll a J and smoke because, you can't have pot or whatever. It's a tincture, it's gummies, it's creams, all of that, it's capsules. All of that stuff is great to know that CBD can occupy any of those dosage forms, right? And we will get to the point where we can choose between those. But there's a more important concept about CBD that everybody has to understand, and that's that there are infinite dosing options. What do I mean? So let's pretend that you have a headache. You go to any pharmacy, convenience store, Target, whatever you do, right? And you buy Advil, which is ibuprofen. And so you have two options, basically, whenever you buy this compound. It's pills, and it's 200 milligrams, or it's liquid, and it's going to be 100 milligrams per teaspoon. Now, don't nitpick here. Of course, I know there's a couple different things, but this is an analogy. I'm just trying to teach people something. There are two options for this regulated drug. CBD is not like that. You have practically every combination of concentration available to you. Literally 5, 10, 20, 22, 26, 13, 100, 200, whatever. They're at 2 milligrams per milliliter, 40 milligrams per brownie. There's all these weird units of measure and concentrations that are available. So, the hardest part, of course, is you don't also know what you're buying. When you look at a CBD product, it doesn't even really clearly tell you what the strength is. So, back to that headache example, right? So you come to the store and you have two options. You have Advil, which is that standardized thing, or then you have my Maui Wowie brand of Advil. And instead of the 200 milligrams, I only put 2 milligrams into the bottle. And you take it and your headache is still there and you're really mad at me. Or you say, this Maui Wowie doesn't work. And the question that I have is, does it not work, or did you just not get enough of it? Maybe if you took 100 of my pills, you could get enough dose to actually be beneficial for your headache. So that's an important thing to kind of understand. That's what we're dealing with when we're dealing with CBD, this lack of clarity around what I'm actually buying and then what dose I actually need to be beneficial, and is my product that I'm buying actually delivering that? So once we understand this very, very basic fact, we're much more likely to succeed with CBD. You can't just go out and buy anything that says CBD. You just can't do that, and then you can't expect it to work because we're not really putting that effort in there. There's no standardization of doses, and we're not connecting the amount that you're taking to an amount that generally works in people. Those are very important kind of pieces, right? And then you layer on top of that the differences between the tinctures and the gummies and the flower and all of that other fun stuff. You have what's left, as I've said, people spending money on stuff without really knowing what's going on, and it isn't really helping. At least not like it should work, right?